Despite the growing number of single parents in the UK and other societies, stigma against them remains surprisingly persistent. While some outdated stigmas like those surrounding divorce or non-marital birth have faded over time, single parents still often find themselves judged or marginalized. This video explores why these negative perceptions endure, drawing on both psychological and sociological perspectives. We'll examine the roots of stigma, how it is maintained by social structures, and what can be done to challenge it. Let's begin by understanding how stigma is defined and why it continues to affect single parents today. Erving Goffman, a renowned sociologist, offered a unique perspective on stigma. Rather than seeing it as a result of individual flaws, Goffman argued that stigma is deeply rooted in social relationships and cultural expectations. He introduced the concept of a spoiled identity, which depends on what society deems desirable at any given time. This means that stigma is not fixed, it changes as societal values shift. For example, being divorced or having children outside of marriage was once heavily stigmatized, but these attitudes have softened over the years. Yet single parents still face negative judgments. Societal attitudes are not static. What was once considered shameful or undesirable can become accepted or even celebrated as times change. For instance, the stigma around divorce or non-marital births has faded significantly in many cultures. This shift demonstrates that stigma is less about the individual and more about what society values at a particular moment. However, despite these changes, single parents continue to be singled out, suggesting that deeper social forces are at play. Building on Goffman's work, sociologists Bruce Link and Joe Phelan expanded the understanding of stigma. They emphasized how labeling and cultural beliefs create divisions between us and them. These divisions are not just about attitudes, they are reinforced by discrimination and supported by political, economic, and social power structures. When these structures back up negative stereotypes, stigma becomes even harder to break. This framework helps explain why single parents, despite being common, still face widespread judgment. Labels are powerful tools in shaping how we see others. When single parents are labeled as different or less than, it creates a divide that is hard to bridge. These labels are often reinforced by cultural beliefs and stereotypes, making it difficult for single parents to be seen as individuals with unique stories and strengths. Instead, they are grouped together and judged based on assumptions that may not reflect reality. Stigma against single parents, especially unmarried mothers, has deep historical roots. In the past, unmarried mothers were often both poor and morally condemned. They were seen as burdens on their communities, facing both economic hardship and social exclusion. These attitudes were not just personal opinions, they were embedded in laws, policies, and community practices that punished and isolated single mothers. Today, the media often continues these old patterns by attacking or shaming single parents. Headlines and stories may blame single mothers for broader social problems or portray them as irresponsible. These narratives echo the historical condemnation of unmarried mothers, showing how old stigmas can persist in new forms. The media's influence helps keep negative stereotypes alive, making it harder for single parents to be seen in a positive light. Stereotypes about single mothers are closely tied to gender inequality. Women who raise children alone are often judged more harshly than men in similar situations. These stereotypes are not just about parenting, they reflect deeper biases about gender roles and expectations. Single mothers may be seen as irresponsible or incapable, while single fathers are sometimes praised for their efforts, highlighting a clear double standard. Class bias also plays a significant role in the stigma faced by single parents. Policies and public attitudes often assume that single parents, especially those from lower-income backgrounds, are a drain on resources. Government policies such as austerity measures and welfare reforms can reinforce these stereotypes by penalizing young or low-income single parents. This creates a cycle where stigma and economic hardship feed into each other. The idea of broken families is a powerful narrative used to shame single parents. This rhetoric suggests that families led by single parents are inherently flawed or less capable of raising healthy children. Such narratives are often used in political debates and policy discussions, further entrenching stigma. They ignore the diversity and resilience of single-parent families, focusing instead on outdated ideals. Recent welfare reforms have often targeted single parents, especially young ones, with stricter requirements and reduced support. These policies can make life even harder for single parents, reinforcing the idea that they are to blame for their circumstances. Instead of offering help, such reforms can deepen stigma and make it more difficult for single parents to achieve stability and success. Media often perpetuates myths about single parents, painting them as unemployed or irresponsible. However, the facts tell a different story. In reality, 70% of single parents are employed and 10% are fathers. The average age of a single parent is 39, challenging the stereotype of the young, irresponsible mother. These facts highlight the need for more accurate and nuanced portrayals in the media. One common stereotype is that children of single mothers are at a disadvantage. However, research shows that children raised by single mothers develop normally. In fact, young parenthood can sometimes have positive outcomes for both parent and child. These findings challenge the negative assumptions that often surround single-parent families and show that family structure is not the only factor in a child's well-being. Single parents face a range of real-life constraints that are often misunderstood. Many are judged for not working, even when job opportunities are unrealistic or incompatible with their parenting responsibilities. Public policy and workplace expectations often fail to account for these challenges, making it harder for single parents to balance work and family life. Recognizing these realities is crucial for creating fairer policies and reducing stigma. To break the cycle of stigma, it's essential to challenge the myths and stereotypes that surround single parents. This means relying on facts rather than assumptions and recognizing the diversity and resilience of single-parent families. Media, policymakers, and the public all have a role to play in changing the narrative and supporting single parents more effectively. Media has a powerful influence on public perceptions. By choosing to highlight positive stories and accurate statistics about single parents, the media can help shift attitudes and reduce stigma. This requires a conscious effort to move away from sensationalism and focus on the real experiences of single-parent families. Public policy must better reflect the realities faced by single parents. This means designing support systems that are flexible and responsive to their needs, rather than punitive or one-size-fits-all. Policy should aim to empower single parents, not penalize them, and recognize the valuable contributions they make to society. It's important to understand the real constraints that single parents face, such as limited childcare options, inflexible work schedules, and social isolation. By acknowledging these challenges, society can develop better solutions and offer more meaningful support. This understanding is key to reducing stigma and helping single parents thrive. Empathy is essential in breaking down stigma. By listening to the experiences of single parents and understanding their challenges, we can foster a more supportive and inclusive society. Empathy helps us move beyond stereotypes and see single parents as individuals with strengths, hopes, and dreams. Single parents demonstrate remarkable resilience and resourcefulness. By celebrating their achievements and recognizing their contributions, we can help shift public attitudes and reduce stigma. It's time to move beyond outdated stereotypes and appreciate the diversity and strength of single-parent families. Conclusion: the stigma faced by single parents is not inevitable. It is shaped by social attitudes, media narratives, and public policies. By challenging stereotypes, supporting single parents, and promoting empathy, we can create a more inclusive and accepting society. Recognizing the realities of single parenthood is the first step toward breaking the cycle of stigma and building a better future for all families.